So this is my product review for the Opportunities MCT oil powder. And in the past, I've always used MCT oil. I've never used a powder. This is the first powder I've used, so I didn't really have any expectations or knowledge or anything behind, what it's gonna do or how it's gonna make me feel. I just have the knowledge of the oil and coconut oil. So I was very happy to see that I don't need a blender. I am so used to oils to where you have to blend it or else you're gonna get that oil slick at the top, and that's really disgusting because when I first started doing like bulletproof coffee and stuff like that, I never blended it and it would have this nasty oil cover at the top and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so gross, how do people do this? Then I realized I needed to actually be blending it. Once I blended it, I did enjoy it, but with this, it makes it super easy because it's a powder, so you can put it in like these containers. I take these containers with me a lot for the different supplements that I take, so I can take it with me on the go and not have to run back to the house every time I need something. But it's very convenient, so you can put it into that, and it mixes with a spoon. I made a video earlier that is included later, but when I mix this, I literally just put the scoop in and stirred it up with a spoon, and that's all that was needed. So you could put it into a shaker cup and just shake it and be on the go with it. Another thing that I kind of realized, I never really had an issue with MCT oils messing with my digestion. I do know that if I drink a little too much of it, I do have issues. So there is that somewhat of an issue. But with the powder, I don't have those issues at all. So another thing when I was looking at it is that there's only 7 grams for the MCT in here, and with the oil it's 14. So I figure, and correct me if I'm wrong because I honestly don't know, but you could probably, 1 scoop of this is about half of what the MCT oil is. So you could probably get away, because this does seem a little bit easier on the digestive tract, that you could put more in it to have more MCT oil powder, versus if you have too much MCT oil, then you're gonna have digestive issues. So I didn't really get to put more than 2 scoops in any of my servings that I did have, so I can't attest to that. And then the other problem is my husband decided, I mentioned that while I was doing some research on it, that there are some endurance athletes and cyclists who use MCT oil powder before they go on a ride, and it's helped them with energy output, and they have more endurance. So I was telling him, because he does triathlons, and then I find out he's been drinking it, not telling me. So this is basically empty. So I wanted to be able to do, 4 scoops of it to see if that would be like double, that would be like 2 tablespoons of the MCT oil. So I wanted to try that and see, but I didn't get a chance to because my husband's been dipping into my bag without letting me know, and I finally caught him the other day, and that's how all this went down. But the thing with the MCT oil and powders is that it instantaneously works with your body, because the way that your body processes it, you don't have to wait for it to go through the whole digestive tract. So that makes it a very good pre-workout. I've used it several times as a pre-workout for me, instead of having to take an actual pre-workout that had anything in it, caffeine or whatever. Like sometimes I have just had this with water, and it doesn't even taste bad with water. I've had it with my green tea, I've had it with coffee, I've had it with water, I've had it in a couple of my shakes. So it's pretty versatile in the way that you can use it, and it doesn't have a flavor, so it doesn't mess with anything that you're trying to put together with it. Also a plus in my book. But that's pretty much what I have on what I like about it. There is also, when you're looking at the ingredients, I don't see maltodextrin in it, which is good because I work with a lot of people who are finding they have issues with leaky gut or just gut issues in general, and that is a huge gut irritant. So I'm glad to see that that's not in here. The only downside is people that do have a dairy intolerance, which I don't want to say I do, but like there's a level of amount of dairy that I can have. I usually just don't eat it because I don't want to have any issues. But with this, it does have sodium caseinate in it, which is a derivative of dairy, but it didn't irritate my stomach at all. So that would be the only downfall, just reading the back and the label, that I would see with it. And then I would have probably 2 questions to ask the manufacturer about it is, what is the ratio for the MCT oil and then the powder that they basically coat it with. Most companies have like a 50 to 80%. So depending on that, depends on how much better it kind of is. The higher percentage is obviously what you want. So that would be the first question I have. And then the next question is, and I mean, nobody ever puts it on the package anyway, so you can't fault them for that, is what is the quality of the oil? So there is C8, which is caprylic acid, and that's a little bit better for ketones production for people who are on like a ketogenic diet or doing low carb, high fat. Then there's also capric acid, and it is C10. The first one was C8. This one is C10. So it's still good for ketosis in that in general, but C8 is definitely a little bit better, the caprylic acid. So I would be curious to know what type of the quality of MCT oil was to start this. But that's pretty much all I have for it. So what I did is I tested my blood sugar before I started drinking it, and then after I finish this, I'm going to test my blood sugar at the 30-minute mark, the 60-minute mark, and the 120-minute mark, just to see what my blood sugar and my ketone levels are at. You know, I'm not having anything else, so that's the only thing that's in there, and I'll just be sitting at the computer doing kind of like nothing. So, you know, there's no exercise or anything like that that could also be contributing to, you know, glucose or anything going up. So I am curious to see, and I will post the pictures of the different ranges of the marks at the end of this so you can see that too, okay? Thank you so much for watching. And I do love it, by the way. My husband already told me we need to order more because he clearly likes it too, and there's 1 scoop left in here. And I told him I absolutely need that because I have to make this video and I need it to make my video. So thank you very, very much.